No, you know, we see it happen. We see it happen. We don't move it side to side. We see it happen. We see it happen all the time. And we just gotta play. We gotta play basketball. We just gotta play basketball and understand that one play is not going to make up an 18-point.
Paul Pierce used to call that hero ball. Is that really what you're talking about?
That's definitely what it's called. It's called hero ball, and we can't play hero ball. We don't have heroes. It's a natural habit from, you know, a ton of great players. These are all great players. You know, we didn't get to the league by accident. It's just they're great players, and our natural ability comes out and we try to make that home run play. But as a team, that hurts us. As a team, that hurts us. And that's not, like I said, it's not just one individual. It's everybody. You know, sometimes I do. And we just got to step outside of ourselves and put the team first. And then the home run plays naturally spit themselves out within our system.
I don't know, Sherrod. I don't know. I've got to figure out how to coach this team better. I'm not doing a very good job. We're not playing well, and we're playing almost. It's not good basketball. We got to do a better job playing good basketball. I'll figure out the rotations later once we start playing good basketball, and once we all are very focused on playing good basketball, and that's on me. I got to do a better job.
What a somber day or evening in the Celtics locker room. We're going to talk about it on this episode of the Garden Report on CLNS Radio and Celtics Blog. Welcome to the show. My name is Jared Weiss. With me, Julian Edlow from WEEI and CLNS Radio. We've got a lot to talk about today. First, off the top, new theme song from Teddy Roxpin and John Gannon called This Hymn. Oh, I lost my mind when I heard that track for the first time. You haven't even heard it yet, so you don't know what I'm talking about. But you guys have just heard it, so I hope you enjoy it. There's a link in the description to iTunes, so you can download it there. So we got to talk about what happened after the game, and then we'll get into what happened during the game. But there were two very, very fascinating statements that you saw off the top. Brad Stevens saying that he's not doing a good job coaching. Jared Sullinger saying that this team cannot have heroes on it. Well, because they don't have any heroes, so that's why they can't be heroes.
This is true.
Yeah, so, I mean, just looking at, let's start with what Sullinger said. So, Sullinger was very adamant that they are not playing like a team, and there have been a lot of comments from the last few weeks that have indicated that that's an issue. Looking at it coming out of the Rondo trade, how do you see this playing out, and what do you think of what Sullinger said?
Well, no hero ball was certainly a theme while Sullinger was speaking, and that is, like you said, the nature of this team. They didn't have a lot of scorers before. Now Rondo, who was seen as their leader, is gone. So this team is just, you know, another voice in the locker room down. And that reflects when we see them play on the court. So they're, you know, kind of trying to figure out where the best place to go with the ball is, especially on nights where guys like Jeff Green put up 7 points. You know, he's their go-to scorer. He's getting back to a little bit of those inconsistencies that we saw from him last year. On a night from like tonight, the starters don't play well. You got to look to different people to try and, you know, carry that load, and that's tough, especially on a bad team.
And the thing is, I asked Sullinger, "What do you want to be that hero?" I know he took it as me saying, "Well, do you want to play hero ball?" What I was trying to ask him was, "Do you want to be the guy that has to step up for the team when they need to?" Because right now, someone needs to step up for the team. Sullinger said that no, you can't be a hero, but it's pretty clear that Sullinger is trying to be the guy that is leading the team forward. So rather putting the team on his back, he's trying to push them forward. And this is kind of a make or break moment for Jared Sullinger, where he's in the middle of his third year. I mean, he's clearly a guy that has the talent to be a key cog in a decent team.
Yep.
And he has put in the work on the court, and it looks like he's putting the work in off the court, the way he came in better shape in the camp this year. But the second half of the season is really Jared Sullinger's chance to say, I'm going to lead this team forward. We need everyone to do their part and make a good system, but I'm going to be the one that's pushing guys and making sure everyone's doing what they need to do. And when everything breaks down because the defense is too good for us to run our system, I'll be able to take that shot, and I'll be confident to take that shot. And do you think Sullinger is going to be doing that?
Well, this team probably is not going to make the playoffs. Obviously, their record is not very good, but in the crazy Eastern Conference, they're always going to be around a few games out of that 8 seed. So the playoffs are going to remain something that we're going to have to talk about. But the second half of the season is about developing this young core. Smart, Young, the rest of the young guys, and Sullinger is kind of one of the older, young guys, if that makes sense. He's in the middle of his 3rd year, like you said. He had a big night tonight, 22 points, trying to lead this team. So, yes, I think Sullinger is a guy the second half of this season. Let's find out what we have in Sullinger. If I'm Brad Stevens, if I'm Danny Ainge, let's run the offense through him a little bit more. He takes a lot of threes. I would like to see them run the ball through him in the post a little bit more. And, hey, let's find out, could this be, you know, a guy that makes some all-star teams in the future, or is he going to fall off a little bit? We'll see. Hopefully they find out the second half of the season by using him.
This is why we host the show together, because one of the things that drives me just nuts about the way that Stevens is running this team is they're not running Sully out of the high post as a point guy. They need to be able to do that. I mean, if you have a high post passing big, that allows you to run action up top and underneath baseline with guys setting cross screens, all sorts of stuff that the Celtics would like to do. And they just don't do it. They do it with Olynyk once in a while, but I feel like Sullinger is a really good back to the basket passer. He's a guy that can post up back to the basket from 10 feet out, put the ball out here, and he can slip those little pocket passes there, find the lanes. He does it once in a while, but I don't think it really comes out organically through the system. It's more of opportunity.
It does not come out organically. You're correct. But seriously, this is the time to try it. If you want to know what you have in Jared Sullinger, try now and you know, see what he is as the guy. Obviously, when you get the team to where you want it to be, you don't want Jared Sullinger to be your #1 guy, but you know, he can be a very good player on a good team, I think.
All right, before I lose my voice here, as I'm pretty under the weather, I want to talk about, it's getting away from the macro, focusing on the micro here tonight. So we know on the show, the 8th man is my favorite man. And
of course.
Tonight,
Who cares about the first 7?
Screw those guys. We had 2 of them going at it tonight. We had Jay Crowder, who has been solid ever since he got to Boston. As he gets more playing time, he's really starting to find a rhythm here. But we finally got James Young. It's about damn time. It finally F-wording happened, just so we don't have to censor it out.
Beep.
Word. It happened. Bleep. I mean, James Young has been tearing it up in Maine. I mean, so did Dwight Powell. We know that doesn't really translate necessarily. But James Young has been putting in the work. There's like no reason to play a guy unless he's completely not ready to play in the NBA. There's no reason not to play him. And James Young clearly is ready to get some minutes tonight. He got that chance, and he was fantastic in the second half. He was running hard. He was playing solid defense. He was making plays. And then the shots he was hitting were huge. He hit some game-breaking shots that completely turned the momentum around, got the Celtics back into it. If it wasn't for that one Kemba Walker drive by Brandon Bass that basically kind of broke that run, the Celtics could have gone all the way and made it a one-possession ball game here. But just talk to me about James Young. I just want to bask in the glow.
Just like Sullinger, finding out if he's, you know, one of the guys that you can build around now. It's getting to the second half of the season. Young's put in the work in Maine. Let's find out what we have in Young the second half of the season and give him some minutes. You know, coming into tonight, Young had played 18 NBA minutes on the season. He played 18 minutes just tonight, and they were very good minutes. Nobody can argue that. He had 13 points. They were all in the second half. He shot, 5 for 7 from the field. He was 3 for 4 from downtown. He's been hitting almost like 50% of his threes while playing for the Red Claws. You know, we're at the point in the season where now is the time. Figure out what you have in your young pieces. Maybe Smart eventually becomes the starting point guard, and Young becomes a guy, you know, your favorite 8th man that just gets those minutes. 18 minutes is fine. 18 minutes off the bench.
That's all he needs. He really shouldn't be getting more than that.
Let him get some shots up, and you know, that's really going to help his development. He's gotten the D-League has obviously worked. There's the next step. Let's, you know, start to take it with him.
Well, here's the thing. So he's a guy that fits everything that this team needs. They need guys that can run. They need guys that can shoot. He's obviously going to be extremely inconsistent considering he's only 19 years old. And oh my God,
right.
I feel old now. And I just graduated college a couple years ago. I can't believe I just said that. But he fits so many things that this team wants to have for its future and needs to have in its present. And it's rewarding to see him get those minutes.
It is.
You see these kind of draft picks that they get sewed away in the D-League, and you're worried. Are they like, did they blow it there? A lot of people saw that James Young pick as a nice little seal that the Celtics had there. And you see him come out in his first game. I mean, I know it's against the Hornets. I know it's against MKG, who's a really effective defender, but not really much of an offensive player. But I mean, Young showing that he definitely belongs here. There's no question about that. going to Maine would be good for him in that he's going to continue to get a lot of playing time. But I think he's ready to stick with the Celtics, not have to drive up and down 93 constantly to get up there, but stick with the Celtics and really see if he can crack the rotation. Because Crowder's good, and they're very similar players, but Gerald Wallace is no longer in the rotation.
No.
They need as many 3-and-D guys as they can get. I think James Young is ready to step into the rotation.
Yeah, nights like tonight are very positive. Like you said, you don't know what you have in a D-League guy. Nights like tonight are very positive in the future, what the future for James Young has to hold. He's not going to do it every night, but, you know, if I had to guess with my gut, you have some guys that are in the D-League, they come up, have a couple good games. Young seems like the type of guy that's going to stick. He seems like he is for real, in my opinion.
All right, we're going to go to part 2. Before we go to part 2, we got a few promos and a few previews here. So, 1, on CLNSradio.com, The Fall of the Boston Celtics by Larry H. Russell is available as of today. So go sign up and get that book. I've already read a lot of the advanced copy. There are some fascinating revelations in there about the Pitino era, especially if you're someone that is my age or older. You're going to be really fascinated to find out a lot of the stuff. If you're one of our 14-year-old viewers who don't know who Rick Pitino is, then you'll find out who he is. The Celtics Beat. Download the podcast, CLNS Radio post-game show. Give it a listen. It's fantastic. It's on right after the game. I know you're watching this usually the following morning or the following afternoon, but if you want to get the reaction or call into the show, go to the CLNS Radio post-game show. And, of course, like us on Facebook, search Garden Report Celtics on Facebook. We put the link in the description on Celtics blog, on CLNS Radio, in YouTube. So click on the link, go find us, search us on Facebook. And, of course, download our podcast of this show on iTunes, because why look at us when you can just listen to our voices?
Of course.
So when we come back, we're going to kick off the part 2 with my interview with Cody Zeller after the game, which I shot on my iPhone like this in shakiness and darkness. So hopefully you'll enjoy the interview. But we had some good talk about him and his brother going head-to-head, and then we'll talk about the trade that happened on Monday night that broke Twitter. So we'll be right back with part 2. Just let the playlist play it through. If you're not on the playlist, find part 2 of the Garden Report on CLNS Radio and Celtics blog.
Like I said, I was kind of nervous when I first got in. My first time playing here, really, in a regular season. So I was just trying to go out there in the second half and just be aggressive. Everybody just told me to be aggressive.
Was one of the coaches or a teammate talk to you about being more aggressive at some point during the timeout?
Yeah. Before I walked out, B Bash just told me to just be me, to stay aggressive and just zone in. And that's what I did. I just try to take every shot with confidence. I mean, after one fail, I just try to go for another and another, and that's just how I've been playing all my life, so I just try to stick with it.